Good morning. So I was thinking that I would fix some muffins for breakfast. I just have to decide whether I want to make the blueberry muffins or the chocolate chip muffins. And this one says it's a quick bread. This one says it's a muffin mix, but this is like an award-winning one. So I don't know. Let me read the directions and see which one's going to be easier. This just has 3 steps. Step 1, preheat oven to 425. Place paper baking cups in a muffin pan or grease bottom muffin pan. Step 2, stir the muffin mix, water, oil, and eggs. Step 3, divide into the muffin cups, bake 15 to 20 minutes or until golden brown. Preheat the oven. You know, all these mixes seem to say to preheat. And that's the very first step. I wonder why that is. And then it also says in tiny print down here at the bottom that you use a different temperature if it's high altitude. Now the blueberry muffin also has 3 steps. It also says to preheat the oven to 400. Same thing, put in the muffin cups or grease the pans, mix in the water, oil, eggs, and muffin mix. Oh, now this has blueberries in a can. You have to drain them and stir them or rinse them before you stir them in. And then you bake the muffins. These muffins, these cook a little bit longer. And we've got to mix in blueberries. This one only takes like 15 to 20 minutes and everything's in the box. You know, nobody ever really taught me how to cook. I do pretty good with these box mixes that give me the instructions. I just have to do one thing at a time. Oh, now looky there. This says preheat oven to ensure proper baking time. Oh, well, maybe that's why they want you to preheat the oven, to make sure it's at the right temperature before you actually put the muffins in the oven, so they start cooking when it's already hot enough. I guess that's why they say preheat it. Do it before you start making the actual muffins. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the chocolate chip, but we're going to do that a little bit later. Okay, preheat. So that means to heat the oven up before we put the ingredients together and the muffins in the oven. I learned something new today. I hope these chocolate chip muffins turn out good. So today's learning goal. Once we have completed this lesson, you should be able to say, I can identify common Latin and Greek root words and demonstrate how affixes change the meaning of the words in context. I can attach a prefix to the beginning of a word to change its meaning. I can attach a suffix to the end of a word to change the word's meaning. And what activities are we going to do to help you achieve your learning goals? We're going to start with a mini lesson about what prefixes and suffixes are. Then we're going to do a card sorting activity. And finally, we're going to test your knowledge by playing a game of Kahoot. And before we get into our lesson, let's go ahead and review our virtual classroom guidelines. So you want to make sure you're following the school dress code before you sign on. You want to find a quiet place where you will be able to concentrate. When you enter the meeting, mute yourself. When you have a question, type in the text box and wait for your teacher to call on you. If you have something to add to what is being said, but it's not your turn, use the chat feature. Wait for the teacher to call on you to unmute yourself. Only one student should talk at a time. Stay on topic when chatting. Use school-appropriate language. Pay attention to your teacher and other students who are speaking, and look into the camera. Respect our virtual classroom just as you would respect our school classroom. I'm Mrs. Hopkins. Today's lesson is a reteach and review of affixes. As we talked about previously, we have prefixes and we have suffixes. One of the things I want you to get in the habit of doing is using all of your resources when you come across words that you're not really sure about the meaning of. Earlier this morning, I was going to make some muffins, and when I was reading the directions, I came across the word preheat, and it appeared as the very first step in making the muffins. When I read the directions, the first thing it told me to do was to preheat the oven to a particular temperature. And I found out after reading the text on the box a little bit more that the reason that you preheat is to make sure that the oven is hot enough to properly bake the muffins before you put your batter in the pans in the oven. And I couldn't have figured that out if I didn't read the box and really think about it. So preheat means that I had to heat it before I did any of the other things necessary for preparing the oven. So that's what that prefix, pre, means. It means it happens before. Now I want to talk a little bit about the word fix. Fix is a Latin word, and it means to attach. So if we had a piece of paper and we took that piece of paper and we were to, say, tear it in half. Oh, here's an envelope. Let's say I tear it in half. I break it, and I want to fix it. I want to put it back together. Probably the best way for me to fix that, to put that back together, to attach the two pieces, would be to put a piece of tape on this piece of paper to return it back to its original shape. So when we're talking about prefixes, we're talking about taking a small part of a word and attaching it to the root word in order to change the meaning. So a prefix is something that we attach to the beginning before the word in order to change the meaning. So we're going to look at some prefixes, and we're going to see how they change the meaning of certain words. So the first one we're going to look at is pre. And we already talked about pre. We said that pre actually means that it's something we're going to do first. So a prefix is something that's going to happen before the word. So this word is preview, P-R-E-V-I-E-W. So if we're going to go to the movies and we're going to watch a preview, then we're going to watch a small part of the movie before we watch the actual movie. So if we look down here, we have three different word meanings. We have the word meaning before, word meaning three, and word meaning again. So in that case, we're going to say that pre means before. Now, here's another one. This is try, T-R-I. And we have a picture of a triangle. So a triangle has 1, 2, 3 angles. So the 3 angles, 3 is what try means. And then down here we have re. Now today is a reteach. A reteach means that I have taught you before, but we're just going to reteach it. I'm going to teach it one more time to make sure that you understand. And we're going to review. We're going to view the information that we learned last time to make sure that it's refreshed in your brain. So when we see the word, the prefix re before a word, like in rewrite, we know that we're going to write it again. So pre means before, try means 3, and re means again. All right, let's look at some more. We're going to go ahead and put those aside and look at a few more prefixes. So this time, we're going to look for something that means opposite. We're going to look for something that means wrongly. And we're going to look for something that means... And let's just look at those two. All right, so we have the prefix miss. We're going to use the example of mistreat. If you treat somebody badly, if you mistreat them, then you are not being kind and you are treating them wrongly. So miss means wrongly. Let's look at this one. This is destruct. All right, so this is a house. I don't know if you can see it very well. It's a structure, and you can see that part of the house is torn down. This might have happened on purpose. Somebody might be tearing this old house down. It might have happened as the result of a storm, like a hurricane, where big winds came through or a tree fell on it. But the structure is being broken down rather than built up. And we know that struct means a building, and that construction workers are the people who build, and that construction toys like Legos and Connects are for building. So if we're going to destruct, it's the opposite of construct. So de is a word that is an opposite meaning. All right, let's look at another one. This is un. If something isn't very pleasant, we call it unpleasant. And in this case, we're going to use the word plug. If something is not plugged in, it is unplugged. And once again, un, like de, means not or opposite. So unplug is the opposite of plug. Unpleasant is the opposite of pleasant. Unkind is the opposite of kind. And we're going to look at one more. This is bi. B-I. So we hear that term sometimes, bi. And here's an example where it's used as a prefix. It is in front of the word bicycle. So thinking back to try, remember we said try meant 3, and a tricycle or a triangle have 3 of something. Triangle, we said it had 3 angles. Tricycle has 3 what? Wheels, right. So a bicycle would have 1, 2 wheels. So bi means 2. Bi means 2. So all of these are prefixes, miss, de, un, and bi, that can be applied at the beginning or attached or fixed to the beginning of a word in order to change its meaning. But sometimes, instead of attaching things to the beginning of a word, we attach them to the end of a word. And when we're attaching things to the end of a word, then we call it a suffix. Suffix means it's going to be fixed after the word. A lot of suffixes are common things, like we put ed on the end of something to make it past. We can put ing on the end of something to make it present or future. All right, so this one is able or able. Able. When we put able at the end of the word, it means that you're able to do it. So if somebody is lovable, then they can be loved. They are able to be loved. We have here some snuggly friends. We have Pooh Bear and Tigger and Eeyore. These guys are huggable. They are able to be hugged. And so able or able means can be. This time, we're going to look at the word less, or the suffix less. 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 If somebody is heartless, we mean that they don't have a heart, that they're not kind, that they're mean. If somebody is penniless, we mean that they're very poor, that they don't have any money. So less is a suffix that means without. So affixes are small pieces of words that we add to the beginning or the end of other words in order to change their meaning. Prefixes go at the beginning of a word. Suffixes go at the end of the word. If you're not sure, think about pre. Pre-test. If it's a pre-test, Alexa, what would a pre-test be? Right, it would be a test you're taking before the actual test. So you're taking it before. What about give another word with pre. Prevent. Okay. You're going to prevent something. You're going to try to keep it from happening. In order to keep it from happening, you have to do it what? Before. Right. You have to prevent it before. Good job, Levi. So pre means before. Think about the oven. I have to preheat the oven before I mix the chocolate chip pancake batter so that when I put the batter in the oven is already hot enough to bake my muffins in 15 minutes. If I don't preheat it and I just put the muffins in and then turn the oven on, in 15 minutes, do you think that my muffins are going to be cooked all the way? Garen, you think they're going to be raw in the middle? They're just still going to have batter. They're not going to be very good. Right. So preheating means I have to heat it before. So as long as you can remember that when you fix something, you attach it, and pre means before, you're going to be fine, because if you see the word suffix, you're not going to, all you have to do is remember, okay, it doesn't say pre, so it must mean it's after. All right, so I want everybody to log on to Kahoot. I'm going to put on the screen our link, and once I see that everybody's logged in, we're going to test your knowledge, and we are going to see if you can remember about the affixes, the prefixes, and the suffixes that we are going to do today. All right, let's get ready. We are going to log in to Kahoot.